Hello, and welcome to today's video, where I will continue from where we left off in the last video, where we went over the introduction arc of Blue Lock. And this is the arc where the story really starts to get serious and interesting. We have a bunch of interesting matches to go over today, so let's just get right into it. If you want me to cover more of the Blue Lock arcs, then be sure to get this video to at least 1,000 likes, and also leave a comment as it helps out massively. Anyway, let's get into the beginning of the Blue Lock first selection arc. The players on Team Z start playing rock, paper, and scissors to settle which players get to be the striker on the team. Isagi manages to win and therefore gets to pick the position that he wants to play, and the others will follow based on their rank. To no one's surprise, Isagi picks forward. Ego explains further on the round robin that the three worst teams will have to leave Blue Lock and also the right to play for Japan's national team. But there is a way for some players to survive, because the best player out of the losing teams who have scored the most goals for their team will also go up to the second selection. The player on each team will be ranked according to their number of goals scored, but fair play will also be accounted for in the system. For example, yellow card is 1 minus point. 2 yellow cards in the same game are minus 3 points, red is minus 4 points, and the red card after a yellow card is minus 5 points. The first match will be in 2 hours between Team X and Team Z. When it's game time, they decided not to make a strategy, but instead just believe in Isagi. After both teams have entered the field, it's time to start. Kickoff start, and Isagi has the ball, but 3 players from the opposite team run at him, so he has to back off. He is going to pass the ball to Bachira, but is interrupted by Raichi, who comes behind him and steals the ball, then tells Isagi that he is going to screw the team and win on his own. But suddenly Kunigami comes and takes the ball from him while they are fighting each other. Someone from the other team comes and takes the ball from them, and then the same thing happens to that guy. So basically, no one cares about their roles. While Isagi is thinking of a way to get the ball, one player from the opposite team breaks through and runs towards Isagi at full speed. It's Shoei Baru who threats Isagi that he will end him. Baru does a heel flick and gets behind Isagi easily. He runs to the 2 defenders, but even they can't do anything to stop Baru, who just runs behind them. He takes a shot, and he shots a perfect shot, making it 1-0. This gets Isagi's team to argue with each other, and now their whole team is in shambles. Isagi tells Bachira that from now on, they will just pass to each other. But before the ball even reaches Bachira, Igarashi takes it and runs off. Before he can do anything useful with it, he loses it. Team X has seen that Isagi's team is in shambles, and that now all they have to do is get the ball to Baru to win the game. Everyone on Isagi's team runs to stop Baru, but when they do that, they leave the other players unmarked, making it easy for them just to score. Quickly after that, Baru scores another goal, and another one, and one more. With Isagi's team losing, and with no sign of being able to make a comeback, Bachira tells him that if there were only him and Isagi, he thinks they could score. So with 3 minutes left on the clock, Isagi and Bachira will try to shine. Bachira tells Isagi that he will bait as many defenders as he can, while Isagi runs behind them and try to find a place to shoot from. The match starts, and Isagi passes Bachira and starts running at full speed to their goal. Bachira baits a bunch of defenders around him and sees a path for Isagi, so he passes the ball to him. Now it's a 1v1 with the goalkeeper, or so he thought, because from nowhere Baru appears before him. Isagi is now stuck, but he hears Kunigami and Raichi behind him, and with nothing else to do, he passes to Kunigami, who hits a disgusting goal right into the net. After that, Raichi takes Isagi and gives him a real earful. He is angry at Isagi for not passing him, but also for not taking the shot himself. Baru also comes and gives his 2 cents, calling Isagi worthless for passing, and with that Isagi's team loses. Back in the changing room, they all argue with each other, arguing about why Isagi was a striker and who should be next time. While they are arguing, Isagi is in his own head, wondering why he passed instead of shooting. That was the exact same thing he did before coming to Blue Lock. So what is it that he's lacking, he wonders. Kwon shouts that everyone should cut it out, telling them that they are in a real pinch now. Kwon explains that they now have 1 loss, making it really hard for them to even move on to the next round. Their best bet would be to aim for 2 wins and 1 draw, but that's also what every other team is thinking. That's why this first game meant so much to them. Kunigami also says that it was only because of Isagi and Bachira that he was able to score, and that might be a hint on how to win. Bachira also adds to that by saying that he thinks it was the best goal of the match. When they are talking about ego reasons for this game, Isagi comes out and says that he has a theory as to what ego wanted with this game. He tells them that early in the match, every player on the field was only thinking about scoring, but all of that stopped when Baru scored. Baru's goal destroyed all of the chaos, and he became the very foundation of the team. After Baru's teammates saw what he was capable of, they felt that they could improve their own play, just by following his lead. And that's why Isagi says that their team needs a foundation. Isagi also says that he thinks that Igo's message for them was to understand that football and the teams are born from a top-notch striker. After that, Igo comes on the screen and reveals the score difference and the scores of all the teams. Team V won their game with an 8-0 score. Igo goes into detail about the Japan country as well. He tells them that the Japanese people love to have a fixed role to play, and that's why they are so strong in baseball. But it's different when it comes to football, because football is a game where the offense and defense intertwined with each other. That's why Japan needs the best striker, one who can act as a leader for the team. Igo explains that each striker carries a weapon. A weapon is something that will disrupt the enemy's organization and destroy them. After that, when the players have gone back to the sleeping room, they discuss their individual strengths. But when it's Isagi's turn, he doesn't know. So they move on to Chigiri, who doesn't want to say either. They decided to ignore them and move on. Kun explains that a striker needs to have a strong weapon to use, and from that, a foundation can start to be built. So he thinks that they should focus on learning how to put their weapons to use. But to do that, they need a strong tactic. Luckily, Kun came up with a tactic he called the Operation Me, Next 9. So after that, they all went through special training to try to make their weapons better. Isagi is having lunch by himself with his favorite meal, natto. He begins to think about this weapon again, and what his own weapon is going to be. When he is in his thoughts, Kunigami comes by to say thank you for the pass. And when Kunigami is about to leave, Isagi asks him why he plays football. Kunigami explains that he will become a football superhero. Kunigami's superheroes weren't the guys with capes or robots. No, it was the one who stood on the green pitch and was triumphant after scoring the goal. He tells Isagi that he will fulfill this dream of his and fight against the world for it, fair and square. After that, Kunigami buys some steak with his points and shares it with Isagi. While eating, Kunigami asks Isagi why he passed him when Raichi was in a better spot than him. Isagi tells him that he somehow could smell the goal from Kunigami's shot. Kunigami tells Isagi that smelling the goal could be his weapon before he digs in the steak, which makes his eyes light up. When Isagi tells Kunigami that he is a great guy, he gets embarrassed, which I felt was kinda adorable. After that, we jump right into game time, and it's Isagi's team is up against Team Y. Ku tells them that Team Y is in the same position as they are, and that they need to be careful of their number 9. Hiniki Okawa has a super strong shooting technique. With the match about to begin, we finally get a flashback to Kwon's tactic. So Kwon's tactic is a devised hyper-offensive system that will make the most out of their weapons. But how will all of the players' weapons be able to shine? Ku has already thought of that, which is why he decided that they all will be rotating playing forward. Now back to the match with Bachira starting as forward, and his special weapon is his dribbling, so the other guys will basically only be supporting him and passing him the ball when they get it. When Bachira is running towards the goal, he gets stopped by 3 players, so he decides to pass it back to be safe. But it doesn't take long until Igarashi passes it back to Bachira for him to try again. Sadly, the time is up, and it's Kunigami's turn to show off. Kunigami's power is his left leg shooting power. Kunigami orders them to run up the sides, and then Kunigami finds an open space to shoot from. But just when he has shot the ball, 2 guys from the opposite team blocks it, making the ball bounce to Isagi. Isagi passes the ball to Bachira for him to get their rhythm back. When Isagi is thinking, he realizes that Okawa, their star player, hasn't moved at all since the game started. Bachira passes the ball to Kunigami, who takes his shot, but once again gets blocked by the opposite team. This time the ball bounces back to one of their players, and suddenly Okawa starts running, but this catches Isagi's attention, so he follows him. After that, Okawa gets a pass from his teammate, who we now know is called Nico. Now it's only Aiman standing in his way to scoring, but as we know, Lemon isn't really a goalkeeper, so Okawa gets past him easily and scores for Team Y. Team Z is now losing, but they decided to at least have 2 players focus on Okawa to try to prevent more goals. They also switch positions because now it's Kwon's turn, and his weapon is his jumping power, which he can use to beat anyone in headers. Anyway, the ball goes to Kunigami, but it's quickly stolen from Nico, who takes it and just passes it around the entire first half. In the changing room, Isagi's team is furious, and Raichi says that the other team had the ball for 10 minutes, and also 5 of Imamura's. Igarashi says that aside from Okawa, Team Y kept passing on their side to guard the ball, with the intention of winning the game with their 1-goal lead, and if that wasn't enough, we can't forget that Team Z must keep at least 2 people near Okawa. Chigiri asks if it wouldn't be best to switch up their strategy, but Kun says that it's too risky and tells them to continue on with Operation Me Next 9. The second half begins, and it's just like the last. Team Y is just keeping the ball close and passing around. Imamura goes in to steal it, but fails. However, Gagamaru follows up with Imamura's attack and has now captured the ball. And after that, Gagamaru's 10 minutes starts. Gagamaru passes to Isagi on the side, while he runs into the middle, and when he is in position, Isagi passes him. Gagamaru uses his long body to head the ball, but unfortunately, it hits the corner of the goal. However, it gives Team Z a corner kick. Isagi thinks that they can break them, but just then, he senses a strange and fearsome aura behind him. However, when he looks back, he can't see anyone, just Okawa standing far back. Bachira goes to take the corner kick, but when he kicks it, Isagi suddenly starts running back. The ball goes down, and the goalkeeper from Team Y goes out and punches away the ball. However, Isagi had already got a feeling that this would happen, so he was prepared. He came in between Nico and stole the ball, saying that Team Y's heart is none other than Nico. Nico has been cutting off all of Team Z chances. He's been deciding when to switch between offense and defense, meaning that Nico is definitely the one controlling Team Y from the shadows. After that, Isagi is in a speed duel with Nico, running as fast as he can. When he's finally ready to take the shot, he takes it. However, Nico managed to just in time get in between and stop it. The ball is about to go out, but then a hero comes forward. It's Gagamaru who's managed to reach the ball with his foot, and he scores an outstanding goal, but at the price of his organs, as he goes into the corner of the goal. Team Z has finally managed to get even with Team Y. However, they still need to score at least one more to win. After that, Nico talks with Isagi, saying that if it weren't for him, that counter would have ended with Okawa's second goal. Isagi tells Nico that he won't let him run free again, and that they will win. However, Nico coldly tells him that they can't win against him, as he's the one controlling the game. The game is back on, and it's now Naruhaya's turn. However, as Isagi passes, Naruhaya gets blocked and loses the ball. Team Z quickly goes back to reinforce their backline. Even so, it won't be necessary, as Isagi steals Nico's pass. Isagi decides to pass it to Igarashi, and I don't want to make the Igarashi stands angry, but why would you ever pass him? Anyway, as Nico and Isagi are running side by side, they decided to have a little nice talking session. Nico talks about Ego's speech about strikers carrying weapons. He thought about it a lot and wondered what even is weapons. He says that it seems like each player in Blue Lock has some outstanding talent. Even so, they can't fully rely on Okawa's powerful yet simple shooting technique. Nico isn't as fast as the others, not even as strong. However, the weapon that Nico is carrying is his eyes, which know exactly where on the field he needs to be, and his outstanding mind for manipulating the players on the field. So even if Isagi tries to stop Nico, he won't be able to stop his planning. Nico stops and looks at the clock, saying that it's time for Team Y's last resort. He says that they made this plan in case they were tied. And then when the ball goes to Okawa, everyone in Team Y runs up on the field to give it their all and attack with everything they got. Nico calls it their last resort shot-kill counterattack as he runs up on the field. Isagi quickly realizes that they put too many of their players up on the attack, which leads to a big hole in their defense. If Team Y manages to score on this attack, then Isagi's team will definitely lose. However, Isagi will never let that happen, as he gets a monstrous look and goes back. Team Y is getting behind Team Z's defense like it's nothing. And then, there were only Nico and Ayeman. Nico goes into a shooting position and is ready to win the game. However, he instead passes to his right where Okawa is located. Just as the ball is about to reach Okawa's foot, someone comes in between and steals it. And who else would it be if not Isagi, who tells Nico that he went for Okawa because he smelled like a goal the most. Isagi says that he and Nico are the same, they have the same eyes and brain, and that's exactly why he passes, instead of finishing it off himself. Before passing the ball up on the field, telling Nico that it's their win, and calling him a failure of a striker, Isagi's pass goes to Kunigami, who is being held by two of the defenders on Team Y, so he's got no choice but to pass it to Bachira, who dances around Team Y. He looks into the box and says that the rest is up to you before passing it in. It looks like the ball is headed to Gagamaru, who jumps to reach it, but unfortunately fails. However, Gagamaru wasn't the one Bachira had aimed for, as the ball is going right to Isagi's feet. Isagi has a devilish aura around him, and says that he's a striker before making an incredible goal. Isagi's goal also leads to Team Z finally winning the match. Everyone is over the moon for Isagi, who managed to shoot the finishing blow. After they have celebrated, Isagi goes forward. He says that he crushed all of Team Y's dreams, only for his own goal. As he gets to Nico, we can see him crying uncontrollably, while Isagi thinks about how good it feels to win. To celebrate the victory, Team Z has gone ahead and bought 2 steaks for their hard work. Kunigami praises Isagi and says that he really stepped up when they needed him. Gagamaru asks Isagi if he knew where the ball was going. However, there was no way he could have known that. He was just simply running because he wanted to score, saying that it was sheer luck. Bachira quickly comes and says that he saw him before he forcefully sticks a bit of meat down his throat, and let's not take that out of context. After that, the night comes around, and Isagi is having trouble sleeping, as Igarashi is battling his nightmare with the pickled daikon. As Isagi isn't getting any sleep, he decides to get up. He's so stalked about his goal, and decides to go and watch it again. But as he gets to the monitoring room, he sees Chigiri sitting on the floor. Chigiri says that he understands why Isagi can't sleep, and that a goal like this is the greatest moment for a striker. Isagi sits down. He tells Chigiri that he would probably choke if they tries to replicate that goal, saying that he just managed to run into the ball, and he's not even got a clue what his weapon could be. However, that's when Chigiri tells him that his weapon is probably spatial perception. As Chigiri was on the defense the whole game, he got his chance to watch how the team moved. Most players can plan around the things in their direct field of view, but when they have possession, the field of vision constricts significantly, whereas you sometimes seem to have a vast understanding of the field, and with such an enormous view, you can craft an ideal play instantly. He tells Isagi that's the reason he could respond to that crisis, and what allowed him to score a goal when no one else expected it. However, right now, Isagi is entirely using it on instinct, but if he was able to control it, it might become a one-of-a-kind weapon. Isagi thanks Chigiri and says that he's really a nice guy, before once again asking him about his weapon. Chigiri tells him that he's already said that he isn't talking about it. Isagi keeps on pushing, saying that if there's something he can do to help, he will. After a while and a lot of pushing from Isagi, Chigiri says that about a year ago, he tore his ACL in his right knee, which is an important ligament that helps stabilize the knee. The doctor told him that if we're to get injured there again, it would be too dangerous to play football, which is why Chigiri can never play the same way he used to. He tells Isagi that he once had a weapon like his. He used to have sleepless nights after scoring goals and dreams of becoming the best striker in the world. Even so, the injured scared him, so much as he's now afraid of losing his dream. Chigiri gets up and says that he came to Blue Lock to find a reason to give up on football, and as he's about to leave, he tells Isagi that when he looks at his goal, he can feel like he's ready to give up. Isagi tells Chigiri that he's lying. Chigiri doesn't really want to give up yet. Isagi says that he's just like him, saying that it's scary but he doesn't want it to end, so he fights. Isagi's resolution will not falter, and he will never throw away his dream. But as he says that, Chigiri turns around and says that Isagi doesn't know a thing about him, which shocks Isagi. After that, we can see Anri just sitting on the floor picking up Igo's laundry. She asks Igo how the Blue Lock project is going. However, Igo tells her to have more patience, but he also tells her that the first selection is approaching the spicy part. Isagi sits down on the field after missing a goal and getting some hard comments from Raichi. Isagi is out of breath, thinking that everyone in Team Z is better than him. After that, the monitor goes off and we can see Igo eating some weird noodle combo. Anyway, he tells them that Stratum's 6th match has just ended and shows them how the table is looking. Igo says that until now, it was their performance and plays that determined your spot within their Blue Lock ranking. Although the fundamental criteria of your rank is a striker's greatest strength, their goals, and therefore, the strikers whose goals were most valuable for their team will stand at the top of the chart. And because of that new change, there has been some change in the ranking, as Isagi is now in first place, followed by Kunigami and Gagamaru. After that, Igo announces their next step in their training, which will be to hone their weapons and make them exceptional, considering Argentina's world-renowned striker, Lionel Messi. Taking in his power at a glance, his main weapons are his quick-touch dribbling and his left foot's outstanding shot speed. And with those peerless weapons, he climbed to the very summit of the world's finest. To put that in other words, it means that he's displayed his dominance over every other top striker. Ego with ends, by telling them to seek out their own play style and make it exceptional. After all, unpolished gems are nothing but dirt until their talents have been honed to crystal clarity. After that, their next match is announced and it's against Team W in less than a day. Kun tells everyone to get some rest and to be well prepared for tomorrow. Meanwhile, Isagi is still sitting on the field. He says that instead of focusing on his Blue Lock ranking, he should instead focus on how to go beyond that. He thinks that his weapon is nothing like Bachira's dribbling or Kunigami's power shot. Isagi may not know it's the actual cause of his weapon, however, he at least knows what he'll have to do for the chance to use it. As he gets up and starts running, he says that if he wants to reach the feeling of the last game again, he needs his body to have the endurance to run the whole game. However, not long after he started his secret training, Kunigami and Bachira come from behind, and it's not only then, as almost the entire Team Z is running behind Isagi, joining in on his training. Later that evening, Team Z gather around to study Team W, saying that the two key players are the Wanima brothers. Eamon says that the twins are pretty good when it comes to their joint playstyle, so good that they even managed to score 4 goals against Baru's team. However, then they are alone, they can't use their weapons, so the key to defeating Team W will be to split them up. Just then, Kun comes in and tells them that he's figured out the name for tomorrow's tactic. He tells Team Z that for the next game, they will play just like they've practiced, and follow an improved version of the tactic they used last game. They managed to snatch away the win with the "I'll be the next 9" tactic, but they can't fully make use of their weapons in just 10 minutes. So for this next game, they will have groups of 3 players whose weapons compatibility is higher, and then have them together for 30 minutes. Then swap with another batch. Kun calls this tactic the 3x3 all starts. Pray for Eamon, who has to play goalkeeper all tournament. The next match comes around and it's finally time for Team W versus Team Z. Right off the bat, the two twins charge at Team Z. The two of them completely obliterate Team Z's defense and get behind like it's nothing. They get to Isagi and Chigiri, and Isagi tells him that they have to stop them. However, right as the twins hear Chigiri's name, they start to laugh, and as they get behind him, they tell him that his football career is already over. Chigiri is going to try to take the ball back, but just then one of the twins asks if he's sure and says that his leg might snap again. But that's when Isagi swaps in and takes the ball away from him. Isagi looks at Chigiri and tells him to not listen to them. He says that he doesn't care about Chigiri's past, because to Isagi, he's Team Z's own Hyoma Chigiri. Isagi passes to Imamura, and Chigiri looks at Isagi, calling him annoying. However, Isagi isn't saying this to change his mind. Isagi doesn't have a past like Chigiri to boast about. Even so, he came here because he didn't want to give up on football. Isagi is in Blue Lock because he wants to change his life. He really doesn't know what it was like for Chigiri to get injured, but they are still both strikers. They can change everything they hate, everything they despise, all of it, with just one goal. And while this is happening, Kun gets a header and makes an incredible first goal for Team Z. The whole team gathers to celebrate their lead. When Isagi says, "Who cares about the past?" what he wants to see is who Chigiri is now, telling him with a determined look that they didn't come to Blue Lock just to give up on football. And let me just tell you guys that I loved Isagi's speech. It was such an impactful and important message for Chigiri to hear. Back to the game, and I swear this guy is a demon. Anyway, the twins start with the ball. However, one of them isn't paying attention, which gives Bachira and Kunigami a chance to sweep away the ball. Bachira sees Kun and passes him. Kun traps the ball with his chest before getting it down to the ground and shooting an incredible goal, giving Team Z an additional 1-goal lead. The match restarts with only 5 minutes left in this half, and it's now turn for Gagamaru, Raichi, and Naruhaya to shine. However, as Naruhaya has the ball, one of the twins straight up just grabs him and throws him down on the ground, which gives Team Z a free kick. Bachira takes it and quickly sees the spot where their guard is the lightest, and who else could it be if not Kun, who jumps up and once again heads the ball into the net. And I can't believe that I'm saying this, but Kun has now scored a hat-trick, and with that, the first halftime is over. Everyone is ecstatic in the locker room and is over the moon with their 3-goal lead, and everyone thinks that all of their training has finally paid off. As they go out, Isagi asks Chigiri how he can think about quitting when they are in a place as fiery as this. After that, the game is back on, and Raichi is the ball, but is quickly being pressured by one of the twins. Kun comes from his side and tells him to pass the ball back and to take their time. However, as Kun receives the ball, the loses right away as the other twin comes from behind and steals it. They are running at Isagi, and he knows that he has to stop them even if it means a foul, so he tries to slide tackle them but misses. After that, the twins break through the rest of their team and manages to score their first goal. Kun quickly ensures them that they are still 2 goals ahead and tells them to just relax. They start again, and Kun passes a sloppy and weak pass to Isagi, who doesn't manage to get it. Instead, it falls to the twins, who pass over Chigiri and then score their second goal, making the scores 2-3. Raichi is furious at Kun, and Kunigami tries to hold him back. However, Kun quickly apologizes. The whole team except Raichi tries to be positive, saying that they are still in the lead. Isagi is looking at all of this going down from the side. He thinks that this is bad, and that they need to stop them next time, or else they might turn things around. Kun raises himself up from the ground, but that's when Isagi sees something weird. He sees Kun smiling. However, he quickly brushes it off, saying that he maybe just imagined it. And then with 30 minutes left in the second half, It's now Isagi's, Kunigami's, and Bachira's time to shine as they are headed up to forwards. Isagi has the ball, but passes it on to Kunigami. Both Kunigami and Isagi know that the next point is crucial, and that they need to hit them with the combinations that they practiced. Kunigami looks over to the side and sees Bachira being completely blocked off, so he instead passes it back to Isagi. As the ball is coming at Isagi, he thinks that this is really weird. No matter how much they might have studied them, there's no way they could have seen through this pattern. All of their weapons are now useless, and Isagi can't do anything on his own. He can't even smell the scent of a goal. However, as Isagi gets the ball, he gets it taken away from one of the twins, and now he's sure that their plan has been exposed. One of the twins shoots the ball into the box, and it looks like Kun is going to be able to hit it, but it ends up unfortunately just glaze his head. Or did he miss that on purpose? The ball lands on the ground right in front of the other twin, and he scores with ease, making the scores even. After that, Isagi goes forward to Kun and asks him if he's betraying Team Z. Kun stays silent, but then the twins appear behind Isagi, saying that he's right. They tell Team Z that Kun leaked all of their strategies, weapons, and their weaknesses. Kun approached the twins last night and proposed this idea, all by himself. The whole Team Z is stunned and can't think of anything to say. However, Raichi takes charge and goes to take Kun in his shirt, lifting him up. Raichi starts screaming at him, saying that he will kill him. Just as he is about to punch Kun, the speaker says that he's gotten a yellow card and that he needs to go back immediately. Igarashi quickly asks Kun why he betrayed them, and that if they lose this match, it's over for them. However, Kun just laughs and calls them idiots, saying that the only ones who will stay behind are them. The game restarts and Kun passes the ball to the other team, saying that they are now playing 12 on 10. While the Wanima brothers attack, Kun stays behind and explains his master plan. He tells Team Z that in the last game, when Isagi just barely managed to win it for them, he realized something. He realized that this team, which can only win by the skin of its teeth, has very low odds of winning the remaining matches. Team Z's last match in the rotation is the only team with 2 victories. Team V. Team Z had a tough time against Nico's team. Meanwhile, Team V beat them 8-0. And that's the reason he has up trying to advance as part of the team, and instead decided to do it himself. Telling Isagi that for the teams that don't make it to the top 2, the one with the most goals on each team still gets to advance. That's why he made the deal with Team W to let him score 3 goals. Isagi is angry and asks if their hard work meant nothing to him. However, Kun thanks Isagi for being so stupid, and Kwon tells them that this is what his ego looks like, while the Wanima brothers score another goal, which gives them the lead. The score is now 4-3 to Team W with 15 minutes left on the clock. And Isagi gets the ball and tries to make Kun pay for what he has done, but the twins already know everything about Isagi's weapon is spatial awareness. So the Wanima brothers corner Isagi, and then Kun gets in and sweeps the ball away. Kwon makes an excellent pass to one of the Wanima brothers, who are in 1 versus 1 with the goalkeeper when all hope is lost. Lemon just barely touched the ball, making it hit the post. Lemon tells them to go do what they are best at the score while we guard the goal with his life. Chigiri is heading to the ball when one of the Wanima brothers interferes. He tells Chigiri that today is the day his football career will be over. After that, we get a flashback to Chigiri's younger years. He went to a school called Raitsu, where he meets his new coach, the Wanima brothers. Their first interaction didn't go too well, where Chigiri, as confident as he, has asked them to simply buzz off and challenge them to a 1 versus 1, which he wins with ease with his incredible speed. Chigiri quickly takes the Wanima brothers' place in the team, and when they confront him about it, he just says that it all comes down to whether you have talent or not. But when he was at the top of his football career, he sadly gets the worst thing imaginable. An injury. His ACL tear in his right knee broke, and if that would happen a second time, it would be the end of his football career. Back in Blue Lock, there are 5 more minutes on the clock. Chigiri looks helplessly at the floor, thinking that their football career is now over. But Isagi comes screaming at Chigiri to run, because to him it's not over yet. And Chigiri looks around at all the other Team Z players doing everything in their power to get the ball back, which they finally manage to do, and the ball gets passed to Isagi. Isagi uses his weapon to find out where he should pass, but he finds no one. Bachira is being marked down by 2 players. Kunigami doesn't have the space to make the shot, and Gagamaru would have to force his way to the goal. Team Z's weapons have been fully neutralized, but in the most crucial moment, they get handed 3 extra minutes, and with everyone's weapon destroyed, Isagi decides to take the matter into his own hands. He's determined to settle this, but when he tries, he gets tackled down. Chigiri just looks at him with disbelief and wonders to himself why Isagi is even trying when it's over. Isagi rises from the ground in no time, determined to take the ball back. Isagi's determination makes the whole team come together and everyone starts going for the ball, while Chigiri still looks at them with disbelief. In his mind, he begged Isagi to stop playing, but right at that moment, Isagi screams to Chigiri to focus and take the ball. Chigiri gets the ball, but before he can do anything, Isagi grabs his shoulder, telling him to move and pushes him to the ground. With the ball back, Imamura tells Isagi to pass it around, but Isagi ignores him. Chigiri is on the ground thinking about Isagi's insane resolution. Even though this game is about to end, and Chigiri can finally give up on football forever. Or that was if Chigiri didn't start feeling something weird. He realizes it. Isagi is just like he was back in those days. He believes he can become the best in the world and devote himself fully to football. Seeing Isagi, Chigiri thinks about what he really has been afraid of. Is it that they might not be considered genius anymore? No. Is it that he might suffer a knee injury again? No. Is it that he might not get to play football in the end? No. Because in the end, none of those things matter. The only thing Chigiri can't turn his eyes from is the fact that his blood starts boiling when he looks at Isagi playing. Chigiri puts every single one of his worries behind him because he is the one who will become the best striker in the world. Isagi starts feeling something. It's the goal scent once again, but this time coming from Chigiri on the wing. Isagi sees Chigiri's furious speed and realizes that Chigiri is their only way to victory. Isagi passes the ball to the sprinting Chigiri. The pass goes so far up that even Team Z starts doubting Isagi's actions. But the one who will get the ball isn't Team W because the one who can reach it, the one who will accelerate, and the one who will get Team Z the will is their own princess, Hayoma Chigiri, who somehow manages to sprint to the ball despite being miles away from it. Chigiri takes the ball with an insane determination to win. No one can even match half of Chigiri's speed, and while Chigiri goes off, he gets this nostalgic feeling when he gets to kick the ball on the field and gain this incredible speed. All of his worries before don't matter now, because the thing that was the most important was the pleasure he got the first time he played football. Chigiri makes a long pass which surprises both enemy and ally, because the pass isn't to someone else, no, it's to Chigiri himself. When he gets the ball again, one of the Wanima brothers tries to foul him, but it ends up being himself that gets sent back. Chigiri thinks to himself about this passion, just going straight forward, believing that he can be the #1 player, and the Chigiri from back then is long gone now. The Wanima brother shouts at the goalkeeper to get it before Chigiri does, but no one has the speed to outmatch our princess. Chigiri thinks that if he misses this shot or if his legs break, then he will quit football. But if he can win this goal and if his legs doesn't break, then he will once again take up on his dream. He finally reaches the ball, barely scratching it with his foot. Everyone is glued to Chigiri and the goal. When the ball is in the sky, Chigiri admits to himself that he wants to play football again. And with that, the ball goes right into the net and the score goes up to 4, making it a draw. But Hayoma Chigiri has proven himself as someone who will fight for his dream. Everyone in Team Z is over the moon. Isagi goes forward to Chigiri to compliment him and tells him that he was incredible, but then Chigiri tells him that it was all his fault. Because when Chigiri saw him, he saw something in himself as well, and before he knew it, he was already running. He admits to Isagi how he has been scared to free himself from the chains which were holding him down. Chigiri himself doesn't know for how long his leg will last, but he will still believe in the new him. Chigiri tells Isagi that he will keep on running until his legs can't keep up anymore and until his blood stops boiling. And with that, both of them start their dream of becoming the best striker in the whole wide world. After that, the whole team runs towards him to celebrate, and the match ends with Team W physically torturing Kun, but Team Z interferes and then Kuon escapes. After that, the players on Team Z jumps in the shower and after that goes to eat. On the way there, they talk about their upcoming match against Team W. Someone says that they are the only ones undefeated. However, Raichi doesn't care about that and says that they are going to beat them either way. As they are getting closer to the dining hall, they hear a familiar voice. Team Z looks over and sees Kun trying to slick talk his way with Team W. Kun asks them to join forces, but to everyone's surprise, they decline. Zantetsu Tsurugi asks Kun what merit there is to be had if they decided to follow his plan, trying his best to sound smart. He asks the other two if he said it correctly, however they roast him for trying to be smart when he clearly isn't. Then we get introduced to another of the player, and this time it's Ryo. He tells Kun that he really can't stand lame and spineless people. And the last one is Nagise Shiro, who says that all this chit-chatting is annoying and that he can't even chew his meat. So he straight up asks Ryo for a piggy ride, which he just casually gets for some reason. Kun tries to stop them as they are leaving, but then Nagi looks back at him and asks Ryo why he's so desperate, and Ryo tells him that it's because he wants to win. After that, Nagi says that those who can't win even after putting in all the effort are just weak guys, which is not even worth the hassle. As they are walking, he continues, saying that if he was Kun, he would honestly just quit. But then Isagi walks over to them, telling them to stop, and says that football isn't something that they can just mock. Ryo looks annoyed and asks who he is. And that's when the whole of Team Z comes behind Isagi, making a really cool panel. Anyway, Isagi tells him that they are the ones that will bring down Team W. After that, Team Z is in the monitoring room. They go over match number 9, which had just been settled. The match led to a draw thanks to Nico and the Wanima twins scoring goals. With the result of that match, Eamon reveals their standing at the table and says that Team Z is in the 3rd position. He tells them that if they win their next match against Team V, they will pass. Igarashi says that it was quite life-saving that they managed to draw with Team W. Kunigami adds on by saying that they would in big trouble if that hadn't happened, and that they would have had to score more than 4 goals in the next match. Shigeri thinks for a moment, before asking if Nico was the kind of guy who'd actually try to make his own goals. However, Bachira says that he was probably inspired by someone, and that person being Isagi. Isagi thinks to himself, saying and says that, thanks to Nico, their chances of surviving have raised quite a bit. He also compliments him and says that he can now see a large number of people who wants to try their best to grow stronger in this place. After that, Eamon puts up a picture of the players that has played a key part in Team V's success. And those people are Zantetsu, who's managed to score 5 goals, Ryo coming in at 2nd with 6, and then Nagi on the top with his 7 goals. Isagi thinks back to Nagi and says that he makes him sick and that they will definitely win. After that, we jump into Team V's locker room. Zantetsu has just gotten out from training and asks Nagi if he skipped training today again. Nagi tells him that he did and that it's gotten annoying. And after that, he goes to give Nagi some kind of massage before Ryo jumps on top of Zantetsu, telling him that Nagi will be fine even if he skips practice. Ryo looks at Nagi with big eyes and says that Nagi is his gem. After that, we get to see Ryo's total assets, and that man is crazy rich. He's the heir to Mikage Corporation and has assets of 705.8 billion yen. And then, we jump straight into a flashback of Ryo's past. Ryo's father tells him that he was born so he could take care of all his father's built, giving Ryo the freedom to think of this world as a means to whatever goals he seeks. As Ryo was growing up, he got anything he wanted, but he couldn't find anything inside him that he yearned for. He is attractive, has a nice figure, a sharp mind, and is talented at any sport. Even though Ryo has been blessed with everything, there was still nothing in his life that he wanted for his own. Ryo began to think like that when he was in his first year of high school, and then Ryo stumbled upon that. The most exciting event in the world, and the gilded symbolizes the victory of glory alike. And just like that it was born, the thing that Ryo had been seeking for so long was now so clear for him. It was nothing else than to win the World Cup. However, when he went to tell his dad about it, he has gotten an unfortunate answer, with his father refusing. Ryo is surprised, saying that he's always gotten what he's wanted, and that it was his dad that teach him those ideals. His father tells him that he is his heir. Besides, only those chosen by football can make a living off it, telling Ryo that there's no way that he will be one of them, seeing that he's only starting now. His mother comes behind Ryo and agrees with his father. That night was the first time Ryo had felt blinding frustration, yet he abstained. However, that anger only fanned the flames of his desire even further. After that, Ryo is in school and is thinking about a way to show his parents that he's capable of living off football. As he's walking to another class, he stumbles on someone playing games on his phone. Even so, Ryo notices him too late and then accidentally bumps into him, making his phone drop on the ground. However, the guy jumps right off the stairs and traps the phone beautifully, and goes back to playing as if nothing happened. And who else would it be if not Nagi? Anyway, Ryo goes to Nagi and says that he's amazing before asking him to play football with him. Nagi knows that Ryo comes from a rich family, so he straight up asks for money, before saying that football is annoying. Ryo is mind blown that Nagi has never played football and says that he's got talent. Ryo tells Nagi that if they work hard, they might even become pros. However, Nagi says that if he has to work hard, then football is annoying. Ryo, as persistent as he is, tells Nagi that he doesn't have to work hard and to just play football with him. And just like that, Ryo's life, which was filled with emptiness and boredom, had now changed as he met Nagi. Let's skip this part, shall we? Reichi is still furious at Kun and says that he still hasn't forgotten him before attacking him. Isagi tries to break it up, saying that Kun might get injured and that they need him for the next game. Kun breaks loose and asks if he's stupid, saying that at this point, even if Team Z loses the next game, he will still move now. and that his best tactic is to do nothing at all and wait. Kunigami comes forward and says that he might score 3 goals in the next match, which would then make him the top scorer, and asks if Kun would still decide to wait and do nothing. Kun starts to laugh, saying that it's impossible to score a hat trick since it's already 11 against 10. However, Kunigami is determined and says that he will do it. After that, Bachira comes up with a very valid point. He asks what would happen if both Isagi and Kun are tied with 3 goals and how they would figure out who's in and who's out. Chigiri tells him that it would be the one with the least yellow cards. However, what if they are tied in that too? Just then, Ego pops up on the screen saying that it would be decided based on their standing in the blue lock ranking. He says that if they were to lose the last game and were tied in both goals and fouls, what would count in the end is the one standing at the very top of his team's ranking. Reichi is furious that Kun has managed to climb onto the first spot, but Ego tells him that in the first selection, the only thing that matters is the number of goals scored. Even so, Ego says that Kun as a striker is the lowest, among the worst at the bottom, calling him the filthiest scum in all of his facility. Ego doesn't stop there, and says that up until now, Team Z had been struggling just on the verge of elimination. Yet this is nothing but a chain of flukes. Those methods of attacking are actually worthless, all things said. And what the best striker in the world requires is the repeatability of a goal. It's true that the most dramatic goals are the ones that leave the longest lasting impressions, and there are a lot of players capable of such feats around the world. And yet, why is it that they cannot pull such goals once more? That is because it was nothing but the result of a mere fluke. Ego then tells them what it is that they now need, and it's the formula to produce and create as many goals as it takes, score a goal by any means necessary. They can use their physical state and their weapons, and then analyze all the factors beyond it, thinking about things like how many meters were there until I could score, how many defenders were there, where did I get that pass, and what did I feel that time. They need to understand every key component of their goal. Only when you do this, you will be able to repeat it. Everything from positioning, touching, dribbling, and shooting. It's necessary to understand the formula that allows your best skills to thrive, and then make full use of it. A world-class striker is one who possesses their own unique formula to score goals. All of them that are still surviving out of sheer luck, however, that alone will get you nowhere. Ego tells them to know that repeatability is not a trait that comes after success, but is instead the very foundation behind it. Matches are something where irregularities abound, where adversaries stand in a single second on that abrupt battlefield. And being the world's best striker means being someone who carves multiple paths, while his sheer prowess. Ego tells them to abolish the idea of winning by chance, and instead claim victory as a logical consequence. He tells them that the answer to their formula lies in slumber on the field, and that those who don't seek it can fuck off. Before he disappears, he also puts up the time remaining until the last game. After that, Isagi begins to walk out of the room, thinking that unless he changes, he will never win. He starts to sprint, and says that he wants a weapon that lets him fight alone, and he knows exactly who he has to turn to. Isagi goes to the 5th stadium and Team X training room to meet the first selection top scorer, which is none other than Baru. Isagi tells Baru that he needs his help. He asks Baru how he can become a striker more like him, and someone that can score a lot of goals. Baru is quiet before shooting a football at Isagi's face. After that, Baru tells him to use his brain for once. Isagi is confused and says that Baru is the greatest player he's ever met, before saying that he can't let it end here and that he wants to be like Baru, someone who can survive on his own. Baru turns around and asks if he should just take all of Isagi's ego and his foolish dreams away, as he comes right at Isagi, challenging him to a one-on-one. Isagi thinks that his body is no match for Baru's and that he should instead focus on his football and then steal the ball at the right time. If Isagi were to move right now, Baru would just be able to get past him, so he has to wait for the perfect moment. Just then, Baru steps to the side, and before Isagi can even come to defend Baru, shoots the perfect shot into the goal. Isagi is mind-blown to think that Baru could score in the upper right corner from over 20 meters. However, Baru just says that he's had enough and asks for him to leave. Even so, Isagi is persistent and asks for one more. This upsets Baru, who rushes at him. As Isagi is going in to take the ball, he gets stopped by Baru's arm. Isagi knows that Baru can shoot in his angle, so he has to try and tackle him. However, Baru wasn't going to shoot, but instead doing a feint, which lets him get into an even better position to shoot. Isagi is once again amazed. Isagi questions if Baru really can score from virtually anywhere and any time. He thinks back to Igo's speech where he said that a world-class striker is someone who possesses their own unique formula to score goals. And then it clicks for Isagi, and he tells Baru that he is going to stop him in his next play, and tells him to bring it on. This fuels Baru's god complex as he goes for Isagi again. As Baru is running at Isagi, Isagi says that the angle between the distance from the goal and the left flank is around 40 to 45 degrees, and they are 23 meters out. With that information, Isagi is able to construct a picture of the area in which Baru dominates. Isagi says that once Baru enters his domain, his chances of scoring skyrocket. However, he can't pull this off in the middle of a game, with all its irregularities and opponents, but he can make a difference with his charging power, and that is all the more reason he needs to be in tip-top shape. By creating his own area with these variables, he can repeatedly make goals from his formula, and that's Baru's crazy formula for scoring. Baru is coming closer and closer, and Isagi knows that he can trust his eyes for this, and that he just needs to guard that area closely. But just then, Baru tells him that he's wrong, and that his range is actually 27 meters, as he shoots another wonder goal in the corner. Once again, Isagi is amazed by Baru's powers, and wonders if he were to polish his skills just like him, if he could make plays like that. After that, Isagi thanks Baru for his help. However, Baru says that he wasn't helping him, just letting him know that on the field, there is already one true king. After that, Isagi goes back to Team Z's locker room and thinks that there are only 20 hours left until the last game. He's now been able to understand the methodology behind Baru's formula, but he can't replicate Baru's component due to Isagi's weapon being spatial awareness. But it by itself isn't going to be of any use. He looks at his hand and realizes that he's shaking, thinking that everything will be decided tomorrow, and it very well may be the last day of his football career. If Isagi were to lose, he might just go back to how he felt back then. Just then, he hears Igarashi talking to him. He tells Isagi that he's so scared that he can't even sleep, and when he thinks that his dream might be over, he feels really scared of what's about to come. However, Isagi tells Igarashi that it's okay and that he's right. They are fighting because they are scared of losing, and since it's scary, they can grow stronger from it. He says that they will win no matter what, and that there is no way that he will let it end here. And after that, the day comes. Before the match, Iemon goes over the strategy, saying that Kunigami, Gagamaru, and Chigiri will be on top as they are their best strikers. He says that Team Z will start on edge, so they will be defending with everything they've got, and then they will start pressing the opponent's attacks, then hit them with a fast counter, saying that their ideal result would be a victory by 1-0. Raichi warns Kun and tells him to do nothing, for else he's going on the ground. After that, Team Z goes out to the field, more pumped up than ever. As they are walking out, Bachira puts his hand on Isagi's shoulder. He tells Isagi that if they lose there, then they will probably never meet and play football again. Just thinking about that makes Bachira lonely, so he tells Isagi that he will give it all he's got. And then, the last game of the first selection arc, and the game which will decide Team Z's future starts. Ryo starts with the ball. Isagi thinks that they are okay, and that they studied Team V's tactics and playstyle before the match, so that they would be prepared. And all of that comes in handy now, because they know all about Ryo Mikage. Because of Ryo's brilliant dribbling skills, they decided to surrender him with a 2-on-1. But when they do so, Ryo passes the ball to Zantetsu Tsurugi. Team Z knows that his best skill is his left leg shot. Because of that, they decided to tighten his field of vision with the help of the defenders. When Zantetsu feels like he is trapped, he passes the ball to their ace player Seishiro Nagi. But all of that was planned by Team Z, which now comes in between them and steals the ball. The ball goes to Isagi, who passes straight away to Bachira. Bachira has no problem with coming behind their defense, and when he is free, he does a hyper-long pass to Gagamaru, who just barely touches it with his head. Unfortunately, the ball hits the post, and the ball goes to Team V. When Ryo saw Team Z's goal attempt, he is surprised and tells Nagi that they should replicate that. So Ryo does the same pass as Bachira did, and gets the ball straight to Nagi, which he manages to trap perfectly, and with that also shoots the ball into the net, making the game 1-0 for Team V. Nagi's goal leaves everyone in Team Z confused and scared of the true power of Team V. The game restarts and Isagi passes the ball to Kunigami, but while he tries to get into his shooting zone, Ryo comes behind Kunigami from his blind spot and takes the ball from Kunigami. Ryo now does the same pass to Nagi as they did before, but this time Nagi stops the ball with just a light tap and sends the ball into the sky. After that, he jumps and does a cycling kick, which comes right into the net, making Team V lead with a 2-goal lead. The second goal brings fear into the whole Team Z. Everyone is left wondering if they can even win and starts blaming each other, but Isagi tries to break it up. Isagi starts with the ball and passes it to Chigiri, who runs to the pass, but gets accompanied by Zantetsu, who reaches the ball before Chigiri does, and passes the ball to Ryo right off the bat. When Ryo sees that more and more players start to mark down Nagi, he instead passes the ball to Zantetsu and tells him to get into his zone. And with Naruhaya out of place, Zantetsu gets a clear vision of his shot, so he ends up taking it. The shot from Zantetsu goes straight into the net, making another goal for Team V. And when I tell you that Zantetsu's goal broke Team Z, I mean it. No one even believed that they could win anymore, and all hope was lost, except for one player. One player who still believed, and one player that got more excited by Zantetsu's goal, and that player was no one other than the monster himself, Bachira Meguru. When Nagi asks Ryo how many more goals he has to do until he can slack off, Ryo takes a look at Team Z and sees that all of them are either exhausted or hopeless, so he tells Nagi that he has done enough. But that's also when they see the fired-up Bachira. Isagi asks Bachira what it is that he's even saying, and Bachira responds that Nagi, Ryo, and Zantetsu have all gotten him fired up. When Isagi tells Bachira that it's too risky, that's when Bachira responds, "Don't tell me you're afraid." He starts the game and tells Isagi that as long as they are also super special, they can do a comeback. Isagi passes the ball back to Bachira, who tells Isagi that things like weapons or formulas can be useless against hard opponents, and the thing that will help players push themselves beyond their limits is the monster that lives inside them. Ryo goes to block Bachira, but he isn't ready for Bachira's hyperspeed scissors, which are impossible to read. When he tries to follow up on Bachira's feint, he gets hit with a roulette. Ryo calls on Zantetsu, who quickly comes with his fast speed, but is once again no match, or Bachira, who makes the ball float and then does an elastico mid-air, which gets him behind Zantetsu in no time. Bachira is headed for the last remaining guys when he tells Team Z that to become the best striker in the world, they have to trample over Team V. Bachira gets past the last three defenders like it's kindergarten football and does a crazy Rabona into the goal and tells them that the goal was his super special goal. And with that, the whole Team Z gets new hope and is back on their dreams once again. When Team Z goes to celebrate Bachira, Kunigami explains that to win this match, they have to search for new formulas and evolve during this match, because if they don't, then they will be met with a tragic loss. And like that, Team Z is fired up and looking for new goals. The match starts again, and this time Team Z will try to focus on taking down Ryo before he can do anything. So Raichi goes and marks down Ryo, leaving him with no choice but to pass it to Zantetsu, who is getting followed by Chigiri. However, Zantetsu outspends Chigiri in an instant. Or so he thought, because right when he is about to pass the ball to Nagi, Chigiri comes in the way and interrupts the pass. But even then, the ball still goes to Nagi, who traps the ball again and goes for the shot. But this time it's different because now the monk himself, Igaguri, stops the ball with his face. With that, the ball goes to Bachira. He gets challenged by Ryo, who tells him that what happened earlier was nothing but a fluke and that it won't happen again. But Bachira tells Ryo that's different now, because this time around, he isn't the only one attacking, so he passes the ball to Kunigami. Kunigami knows that the limit of his shooting range is 28 meters, but the problem is going there. With all of the people blocking him, he can't do an irresponsible decision, because if he fails, then Team V will have the ball again. He thinks about dribbling it to the goal, but no, he doesn't have that kind of weapon. And passing would be a disgrace as a forward. That's when Isagi screams to Kunigami to just take the risk if he wants to fulfill his dream of becoming a superhero. So he does it. It doesn't matter if he is far away from 28 meters, because this time, he is going to put all of his powers behind this shot. He is going to shot a full-powered shot right to the goal. He shoots, and the goalkeeper tries to block it. But just as the goalkeeper is going to hit it, the ball drops down because the shot Kunigami shot was a knuckleball. And with that, the ball goes in, making it 3-2 for Team V. But even though Team V is up on goals, Team Z's morale and confidence are out of the roof right now. At halftime, they discuss Kunigami's incredibly shot, and he tells that he is just as overwhelmed with that shot as they are. Isagi thinks to himself about how he can evolve his weapon like Kunigami and Bachira has done. He wants to find a new formula to help the team win. The second half is now on, and Isagi passes the ball to Kunigami. He thinks about shooting it from 50 meters, but decides that it would just be wasting their possession. So he passes it to Bachira, who passes it on to Gagamaru, who somehow manages to do a scorpion right off the bat. The ball would have gone in if Zantetsu wasn't there to stop it. Isagi gets the second ball and decides to shoot it, but right as he goes for it, a defender of Team 5 stops him, and while that happens, another one from Team 5 comes from behind and takes the ball from Isagi. Isagi thinks about what he could have done better, and that if he had another weapon like dribbling, he could have dribbled it to the goal, but he quickly throws that idea to the side, because the key to evolving already lies within Isagi. After that, Nagi comes and tells Isagi that he was quite useless there and tells Isagi that he wastes a lot of chances. To top it all off, he asks Isagi why all of Team Z still tries to keep moving forward, which makes Isagi look at him and tell him to shut up before running off. Ryo has the ball and tells Nagi to get up on the field so that Ryo can pass him, but right as that happens, Reichi comes behind Ryo and marks him down. Ryo gets so frustrated at Reichi that he ends up just elbowing him in the throat, giving Ryo a yellow card, and also giving away the ball to Reichi, who passes the ball to Chigiri. Chigiri gets quickly stopped by Zantetsu. Chigiri realizes that Zantetsu's power is explosive acceleration, and to beat that, Chigiri has to use the distance where he can use his weapon at the best. So he passes the ball straight forward, inviting Zantetsu into a speed battle between the two of them. But Chigiri knows that Zantetsu is just faster at him at the start because of his startup speed, while Chigiri is better at long sprinting, and with that, he gets to the ball faster than Zantetsu. With only one defender left, Chigiri goes to the right, opening up a better shooting range for him, and after that, he takes the shot, which luckily goes in, making it 3-3. The game is back on, and Zantetsu passes the ball to Ryo, who once again faces off with Reichi. Ryo looks around on the field and realizes that the field is in complete control by Team Z. But when he is about to lose all hope, Nagi starts running and asks for a pass from Ryo, which is the first time Nagi has moved of his own accord in this match. Nagi gets the ball and starts running, getting behind Igarashi in no time. After that, he passes the ball to Zantetsu, and Nagi asks Zantetsu to give him back the ball in front of the goal. Just as Zantetsu is about to pass, Chigiri comes and slide tackles the ball, but at that moment, Zantetsu suddenly backs up, and with Chigiri on the ground, Zantetsu passes. Nagi traps the ball beautifully right outside the line and kind of jumps up and shoots the ball right into the net, making one of my personal favorite goals in the series. With that goal, Team V is in the lead by 1. After that, Team Z discusses how they are gonna continue the match, but while that happens, Reichi comes in as usual, screaming and tells them to just keep attacking. The game starts, and Isagi passes the ball to Bachira. Bachira is backed up against 3 of the Team V's players, so he passes the ball to Chigiri, who tries to do the same thing against Zantetsu. But this time Nagi's there to take the ball, if it weren't for Isagi, however, because Isagi saw the same thing as Nagi did and went there to steal the ball. Isagi gets the ball and passes it to Chigiri, who takes off with an incredible speed and shots the ball against Team V's goalkeeper, who just in time saves the ball. The second ball goes to Gagamaru, who is in a perfect position to score, so he shots. But right as he shoots, Ryo goes to block it with his left foot, but it's not over yet, because the ball lands on the ground, and the first one to it is Kunigami, who shoots a crazy powerful shot that goes in, making it 4-4. Isagi thinks back to what happened, and thinks that everything that happened played out exactly like he had imagined it, like a simulation in his mind. Isagi thinks that this might be his next step to evolve. The game is back on, and Zantetsu passes a super long pass to Nagi, but luckily, Isagi thought that it would happen, so he was already there and ready, and is now following Nagi. But when the ball goes back down, Nagi does something unexpected. He hits the ball with his back to trap the ball and is now alone with the goalkeeper. Nagi is just about to score and end Team Z's dream. But just as that happens, Kwon comes from nowhere and grabs Nagi, making him fall to the ground, giving Kwon a red card, and tells Team Z to fight on. Everyone questions Kwon's actions, even his own teammates, but he tells them that his body moved on his own and that Team Z will have to win no matter what it takes. With 3 minutes extra time and a free kick from Team V, the game is back on. Ryo takes the free kick, and if I'm gonna be honest, it's a fucking mad free kick. But just as the ball is about to go in, Eamon just barely touches the ball, giving Team Z one more chance to win. Unfortunately, Zantetsu gets the second ball and shots. With Eamon down from the free kick, there is no one that can stop this except Reichi, who blocks the shot from Zantetsu. But even though Team Z has been through so much now, there is only more to come. Because Nagi gets the ball and is about to shoot, when Team Z blocks his shooting range, giving Nagi no choice but to chip the ball. Luckily, Gagamaru with his long body is able to stop the ball just in time. And this time, the ball falls to Isagi, who runs with all of the attackers to Team V's goal. When Ryo comes to confront Isagi, he passes it to Bachira, who gets dragged down by a defender, but also passes it to Chigiri, who uses his crazy speed. But when more defenders go to Chigiri, he is forced to pass to Isagi, thinking that he would get it back, which he doesn't. Instead, Isagi passes it to Kunigami, who gets the ball stolen by Zantetsu, but the one to pick up the ball is Reichi, who passes it to Bachira. Bachira sees Isagi running on the side, telling him that he believes in him. But the one behind Isagi is the genius Nagi. They have a fearsome battle about which one of the strikers will be to reach the ball first. In the end, it's Isagi who reaches the ball first, and uses the final piece of the puzzle, a direct shot, to shot the ball. Everyone is looking at the ball in fear, but as it goes into the net, Team Z gathers around to celebrate their impossible win against Team V, who lost their first match. Kun is standing on the side feeling a big sense of relief, and Nagi tells Ryo that fighting with your all and still losing, it's so frustrating. As they are celebrating, Kunigami, as kind as he is, goes over to Kun and tells him to join in on the fun. However, Kun is resistant and says that he's fine. Kunigami says that it's fine and that they won overall. But just then, someone grabs his shirt, and who else would it be if not Raichi? Raichi says that he hasn't forgiven Kun yet. However, if Kun hadn't tackled Nagi, they might not have won the game. Raichi reaches out his hand and tells Kun to come over. Kun is still resistant, so Raichi straight up decides to punch him in the face. And after that, he joins in on the funny, or I don't know if getting beaten by Gagamaru and Igarashi counts as fun, but yeah. After that, the announcer announces the final results from the first selection. Team V won the table with Team Z getting second place, followed by Team W, Team Y, and lastly Team X. Lastly, the 3 top scoring players will be pulled from each of the losing teams, are Junichi Wanama, Iki Niko, and Shohei Baru. All of the players from Team Z are filled with relief and over the moon that they managed to survive. After that, Team Z decided to throw a party to celebrate their advancing. However, they have no drinks, so Isagi and Bachira get some. When they are getting drinks, Isagi thanks Bachira for his last pass against Team Z. However, Bachira says that it was all Isagi's goal and asks if he figured something out. Isagi says that he finally got a feeling of what his abilities are. He's realized that even if he can predict events on the field with spatial recognition, he still always ends up giving precious time over to his opponents when he goes to trap the ball. But then, he remembered his previous goals and says that he made all of them with a direct shot, and that's how he created his formula. After that, Bachira laughs, and Isagi said that he might have gone a bit overboard. However, Bachira tells him that he keeps things exciting. Suddenly, they hear a bunch of players walking out while crying. As they are watching the players leave, they hear someone behind them congratulate their win. It's Nico. Nico says that he also survived as Team Y's top scorer. Isagi congrats him, however Nico says that he has something to tell him. He says that in the game with Team Z, he realized something when he lost to Isagi's goal. And after that, he got a hold of himself and stopped passing and changed his style to make goals for himself. Nico ends it by telling Isagi that he's still in blue lock because of the goal Isagi made that day. However, he won't lose next time, and next time, he will be the one to crush him, and Isagi gladly takes up on his challenge. Isagi thinks to himself that his goal actually managed to affect someone. Not only that ending someone's dreams by simply fighting them gives Isagi some kind of driving force that he can't get enough of. After that, Bachira and Isagi head back to the locker room. However, when they enter, they see all of the players sleeping on the floor. And that is the end of the Blue Lock first selection arc. Now let me tell you guys how much I love this arc. To see all of the players on Team Z develop into really solid players was amazing. Now to mention the amount of intense moments this arc was filled with, like I still can't fully process the last match between Team Z and Team V because that match was wild. However, with that aside, I want to know what you thought about this arc, and especially what your favorite moment from this arc was. So please leave it down in the comments. And if I can just take up one more minute of your time, I would like to ask you to like this video, share it with people who you think would like this video, and of course subscribe to this channel, because this is a video which I have wanted to do for a super long time, and with it finally out, it feels outstanding. And if you are curious to see more videos of mine, then please watch the video, which will be coming up on the screen now. Anyway, thanks for watching and have a great day. Bye.